My main issue with Tucker Carlson nowadays is his susceptibility to factual inaccuracies. And even when he's on the right side of issues, like he is with this whole Israel-Iran conflict, he is still very susceptible to digging into talking points that are not factual. And he does this with Ted Cruz, where I obviously agree with him and disagree with Ted Cruz about Israel. He says this wild stuff about AIPAC, and Ted Cruz kind of bites back at him for it. And even though he should be winning this argument, he lodges into this completely inaccurate statement that the entirety of AIPAC is a Foreign Agents Registration Act violation. So I'm just going to explain what all of that means.
Law is, and a lot of people have been prosecuted under this law, that if you are lobbying on behalf of foreign government, you must register. That's it. It's really simple. And I don't know why, if I'm working for Malaysia or Qatar or Belgium, and I'm working on behalf of its government's interests through a group of Americans who are representing the friendship between those two nations, I have to register under the Foreign Agent Registration Act. And if I don't, I can go to jail. People have...
All right, so this is just totally wrong. If you are lobbying on the behalf of foreign government, like Russia, well, let's say what does on behalf mean? It means that you are speaking for them. You're on their behalf. You're an agent. That's the Foreign Agent Registration Act. You're their agent. So you have to register because it's not you who's talking. It is the government. You're speaking for them. That's what that means. And that's why we have the Foreign Agents Registration Act, to prevent foreign influence. It's not to prevent people exercising their First Amendment rights to speak in a way that could possibly benefit the interests of a foreign government or a foreign principal. But ultimately, it is their own personal opinion. And that is what AIPAC is. Unless Netanyahu or the Israeli government is directing AIPAC on what to do, what to say, etc., and paying them for it, you can't say that this is a big FAR scheme. It's just not true. There's no evidence for that. It is an American PAC. It is a bunch of Americans who donate because they want to see a stronger American-Israeli relationship. That's what it is. Tucker Carlson espouses his opinions in a way that could possibly be seen as benefiting Russia. For example, in the 2014 referendum, he didn't even believe that it was under duress. This is, of course, something that's very much in the interest of Russian propaganda, but it's ultimately Tucker Carlson's opinion until we can prove that he was paid by a foreign principal to say that. That's when it would become a FAR violation, and that's the whole thing that we saw with Paul Manafort. Is that he was being paid by essentially Russian oligarchs in Ukraine, or powerful people in Ukraine representing Russian interests, to lobby for Russia in the United States, and that was a foreign violation, and he had that whole money laundering thing on top of that to funnel those funds to himself to pay off his debt. So this is how Tucker Carlson falls into this trap. He gets this completely wrong, and now Ted Cruz has the chance to pounce on him.
Going to jail, including people I know. Okay. So I don't understand why we don't just be honest and say they're lobbying on behalf of a foreign government, they're coordinating with the government. You know that that's true.
That is not only not true,
but we don't know that that's true. Now he's just making stuff up. He's saying AIPAC is AIPAC is a proxy of Israel. That has nothing to do with America.
It's false.
They're not coordinating with the Israeli government?
Do you know how AIPAC raises money?
What?
For elected officials, like what they do, like what the actual mechanics is?
I get that. I mean, they go to people who are sympathetic to Israel and raise money and then send it to candidates who agree with them.
So what they'll do is, so in my last election, AIPAC endorsed me. And they'll host a fundraiser. And they'll host a fundraiser in Dallas or Houston or Atlanta or New York or LA. And they'll do a fundraiser and they'll get someone who will host it. And it's usually a business owner, lawyer, doctor, someone who hosts it. And you get typically at an AIPAC fundraiser 30, 40, 50, maybe 100 people who live in that.
Yeah, all this to say, this is about the First Amendment. It's not about a foreign agent, right? People have their right in America to say, I love Israel, I'm going to donate to a stronger American-Israeli relationship. But we do not have the right to, unregistered, have organizations or people be agents speaking on behalf of a foreign government and not disclosing that. So that's the whole deal here. Tucker Carlson easily can make a better point here. He has the right side of this issue, of course, the side with more evidence on it, the side that doesn't want to start a war without enough evidence, the side that does not want to further provoke tension in the Middle East, etc. He has all that correct, and then he just goes down this rabbit hole, and it's just not good for the cause. And I also like talking about FARA because a lot of people misunderstand it in the context of the whole Hunter Biden crime thing, right? That's a whole nother deal. That's kind of old now, so I don't see a scenario where I would ever talk about it. But that's basically it for this video.